Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Bret Michaels of Poison rocks Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia on Saturday night. We spoke about his biggest hits, from Talk Dirty to Me to Nothing But a Good Time to Every Rose Has Its Thorn, as well as his recent success on reality TV.
Hello, it's Bret.
Bret Michaels, hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in Washington, D.C.
You know it. How are you? Thank you for having me on. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. We're promoting your show coming up here on Saturday, October 1st at the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia, which is it's a little bit outside of DC, but it's all in our listening area, man. We're gonna plug this and get some folks to come out to see you. But before we talk that show, I know you were just in the nation's capital over the summer. Your stadium tour down at Nats Park in June. That was before the Nats traded Juan Soto. But how was the big stadium tour here and Nats Park? Any good fun at Nats Park?
Oh, Nats Park was incredible. Let me say this. First of all, after the last 2.5 years, I walked on that stage. I said, I've been waiting for this party nearly 2.5 years. It is going to be great. And remember, I grew up, my father was in the military, and I grew up, spent so much time down in that area. And as a baseball fanatic, it was a great day for me. You know what I mean? And so coming down there, I brought not only the buses, but my personal family, and just drove right in there, and it was a great party. And the big storm hit, it didn't stop anybody. Everyone was down there having a great time, and it was just a great night in my life. And that's the same thing we're doing when we come see you. It's going to be an incredible show on Saturday. That show is going to be slam packed, sold out, and just a good party.
Absolutely. And then is this tour called Party Gras? Is that what we're calling it?
It's the Mardi Gras Party Gras. It's the way we've done it. You know, the one before this was Nothing But a Good Vibe, and that's what we bring with the Bret Michaels Band. I mean, again, all the Poison hits, just give them a twist to each of the songs. And the solo band's incredible. They're all from Manassas, Virginia. So it's, they're my friends growing up, and it is just it's a good vibe. It's like going to Mardi Gras. I host that almost semi-annually, go down there and we throw a big party, and I'm taking that same attitude. Everyone comes in and just making the fans know they're appreciated, and the beads and we put beads on the neck, and you get guitar picks and bandanas, and we just make it's meant to be a night of celebration of music and fans.
I love it. Guitar picks, bandanas, and beads. It's going to be great. And
you get the works.
You get the works. Definitely a rock show. And I love that you said that there, a lot of the band for this tour is going to be local people, Virginia folks. So that's like a homecoming for them. That's cool.
Yeah, and that's who's been with me forever. I'm a loyal guy. These guys are such great musicians, men and women in the band. I mean, just incredible, just incredible musicians, but a lot of fun. They get it. And it's kind of like rock and roll meets Kenny Chesney meets Jimmy Buffett meets, the Poison, Cryo and Pyro. So you get the whole works.
I love it. Everyone you mentioned, I've been to many great outdoor Kenny shows, and people love the Jimmy Buffett. Add some Bret Michaels. Come on, it's the fun's going to be flowing. All right, so a lot of the band grew up in Virginia, but remind us where you grew up. It was like north of Pittsburgh, somewhere up there, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Butler, Pennsylvania, and my dad and mom. My dad was working as a Navy veteran, and then worked for Armco Steel. To supplement income and do stuff. And we moved around a bit, down into Virginia for a bit, and then into Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, to be exact, to the Inland Naval Support Depot there, where he finished out his career. And my mom worked at White Hill Correctional Institute, which fortunately I was just able to visit, never spend any time there, if you know what I mean. So it was a good, just hardworking family, great mom and dad, my sisters, Michelle and Nicole. And I grew up in that central Pennsylvania area, and either, if I was heading down your direction, shoot down 15, or eventually, depending on rush hour traffic, which way to get into the city.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, Mechanicsburg's right there between, I guess, not quite to Harrisburg, but like just past what?
Yep,
Dillsburg, Boiling Springs. I love it up. It's beautiful up there. Well,
it is.
remind us how the actual, how the band came together then. How does beautiful Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania spawn this glam metal badass Poison band? How'd you meet the guys and form?
So here are a couple things. So meeting, again, first person I met, I worked as I was a busboy and a fry cook. So I met our original bass player, right? His name was Dave, and he introduced me to Ricky. And just like all bands, that worked for a little bit, playing clubs, and then just me and Ricky stuck together as friends. And the next thing you know, we met Bobby. He was great and he was committed. I said, this isn't just something to do for the weekends for me. I really want to write original music. And so we would have to go to the clubs and play covers. You play a couple nights of cover, and then we'd say, look, we want one original set. And the only place to really take that at that time, before the internet, was to go to New York or Los Angeles at that moment. And we decided if we were going to starve and have no place to live, let's at least pick a little bit warmer territory. And so we went out to LA and made our what was a blessing. Met Cece out there, and the next thing you know, we made our own record and kept our publishing, and that ended up being a really good. That ended up being a really good day in our life. You know what I mean? We just wrote all these songs and got to keep the publishing, and was our own record label. So we just played club by club and built it up until eventually here we are, a long way into our career playing at the stadium and three generations of incredible fans.
Oh yeah, I love it, and I know there's generations of fans. Our listeners are gonna know so many of the songs that I would love to just if you have a second, go into a couple of the big ones or any memories of recording those specific songs. So I know that first album had "Talk Dirty to Me." Do you remember being in the studio when you're cutting that? I know you were a co-writer on that, but any good memories you can share of recording that one?
Of course, yeah. So all of us, again, we all write the music together in the Poison. No matter who wrote it, who had the main thing, we decided, look, so there's no division, let's just split the song four ways. And obviously solo, that's different. But when we did that song, we recorded it exactly how you hear it now. But we got in the studio with a producer, and this story has become infamous because we got in there and let's just say, he had this idea he was going to change everything, slow the song down into this really ba-da-da-da-ba-da. I was like, we're not doing any of that. If I'm going to make it in rock and roll and live outside the box, you got to live and stick to your guns by what you created. And so we ended up doing this whole record with what was then the engineer from Rat. The Rat record was hitting big. And Jim Faraci was great. He goes, guys, just be you. I'll record it. Go in, sing, play raw music. And that attitude is, I think, what got such great reviews on the stadium tour today. We just went out there and just gave it 1,000% raw music. But Talk Dirty to Me, had we listened to other people, would have been a complete disaster. We just stuck to our guns and played it raw like it sounds now.
I love that you stuck to your guns. Thank you for sticking to your guns, because everyone loves that song. And I know your next album, Open Up and Say I, was even arguably even bigger. Tell me about Nothing But a Good Time. I mean, that is just, I mean, even when you play stadiums today, that has to be just like the ultimate party anthem, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you. We end with that song, and it's bow bow down, and now we have this kick going underneath it, just a steady kick drum. It just kicks ass. It's a great time, and people, when they come to a concert, and if you give them a great experience, everyone's singing at the top of their lungs, it's a good party song, and that's what it's meant to be. But what it's structured, if you really listen to the verses, I wrote it about having a not great boss. And here I am, a young musician, constantly being screamed at as a busboy and fry cook. I mean, old school yelled at. And I thought, man, I'm working hard doing my job. And so when I had a chance, if you listen to those lyrics, it's about all of us working hard and not feeling appreciated. So I was always looking for nothing but a good time when I went to the shows. and got to play music, and from, you name it, from Hammerjacks to the Bayou to, all those places we delivered. That was my sort of uh, moment of finding that music therapy of just letting loose and having a great time.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's an all timer. And yeah, and there's so many we could go into. Your Mama Don't Dance, a great Loggins Messina cover, but my listeners will kill me if I don't at least ask you at least one question about Every Rose Has Its Thorn. So Nothing But a Good Time is such a fun party song, but Every Rose Has Its Thorn, it showed a different side that you guys could do this really moody ballad. So talk about how that sort of showed that there was a little depth to Poison, and dare say maybe now your most iconic song.
Yeah, and here's what it is. When you're writing a song, the truth, the real truth is, you don't you don't sit down as a group and go, this will show this level of depth, or this will. What you do is you write music. Like I said, I write all these songs, and Every Rose I Had a Broken Heart. I was, young love, and she was great. I was great, but I had no money, and she was in Los Angeles. I was, in the back of loading up a van in a Winnebago, not even a mini Winnie, right? And traveling the country, and that fell apart, and so, but to me, it was heartbreaking. And I wrote that song, and it's when, the first album had I Won't Forget You, which had that Americana feel to it. And then this one which did really well, but then Every Rose, people related to it. And even to this day, it's people just relate to the lyrics in the song. That is truly life. There's highs and lows, and you find that balance in between. And then all of a sudden, something to believe in. I wrote that when my best friend passed away, and just raw emotion. And I think people realize the craziest thing I will tell you: the toughest songs to write. You ready for this? The toughest songs to write are party songs, because you're partying. You're having a great time. You don't want to write a song. You're like, I'm having a great time. It's more painful, but much easier to write a song that is bittersweet. A ballad or something that's painful is much more direct. So you have this exact feeling, and you write that, and exactly marrying the chords, what works, what sets the mood, and luckily fans related.
Awesome. Yeah, it's an all-timer. We can't wait to see it at your show. I know we're up against the clock, so I guess before we run, talk about how a whole new generation discovered you sort of as this pop culture figure on stuff like, Rock of Love reality show. And you recently what'd you do? You did Guy Fieri's Ultimate Game Night on Food Network, Discovery Plus. Talk about there was Celebrity Apprentice too. You won the friggin' thing before we even knew. I'm not even going there. That's a controversial political thing now, but just in general, how reality television introduced you and your music to a whole new era of fans.
Absolutely. So here's what it is. If you truly, my whole attitude is bet on yourself. That's the only way you can truly win. You got to believe in what you're doing before anyone else will. And TV opened up. I started with, stuff like Nashville Star. That was, I went down and was a judge. I love country music. You know what I'm saying? I've been out with, you can look it up. You see me and Kenny Chesney doing Every Rose at the stadium. You see me and Jimmy Buffett, McGraw, everybody. So my point to that is, I'm like, I have a ranch in Nashville. Let's go down and do Nashville Star with Leanne Rimes. That was a great intro into TV. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, we're doing Rock My RV. I'm showing people I build out these RVs. People can check that out at official Bret Michaels TikTok. I'm not making this up. They'll really get a good laugh out of that if they need a laugh. But then all of a sudden it was Rock of Love, and I said, look, let's go in, let's have a lot of fun, but just don't script it. I'm not an actor. I can do reality. And it ended up becoming bigger than network TV. We could have probably done 50 episodes, 50 shows of it. But after about 3 seasons, I thought, we're at the very top. We'll move on. And we went from there, and me and Guy Fieri, did a couple great shows together. And I have 2 daughters now, 22 and 17. And, just have they come on the shows with me, and we have a great time.
Awesome. It's been quite the career. You've done and seen it all. It's really incredible. But we're glad to see that you're keeping it going here. And everyone, come check out Bret Michaels. He's going to be at the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races on October 1st. Thanks so much for doing this. It was a blast catching up with you.
Hey, thank you for doing it. And I just want to say to you, to the fans, again, my sincere gratitude. I have this thing called Welcome to the Fam. It just says fan appreciation matters. That's it. I'm a fan of music. So I treat everyone great. It's a good party. We play all the Poison hits. We just give them a twist. But when I say this, it's relevant. We keep our show in the here and the now and just bring the hits forward. It is just a good party, and I thank you. Like I said, we're all in it together, and the Bret Michaels show is going to be an incredible night.
Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this. We'll see you at the show. We can't wait.
I can't wait. Thank you for having me on, my friend.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.